Hey, I'm Brandy Sickles, and this is Break Free Find Joy. I am not a therapist or guru. I'm just someone who got tired of beating myself up and learned there's a better way. So here's what I've discovered. When you stop going to war with yourself and start getting curious instead, something magical happens. You finally have the energy to chase what actually matters to you. This is where we talk about breaking the cycles that keep us small and stuck so we can go after our dreams instead of just surviving them. If you're ready for that kind of freedom, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. This one's going to be chaotic. This is the first episode that it's taken me multiple times to just record the intro. I am overstimulated and overwhelmed, but life goes on. A big takeaway of this week, like that's the biggest takeaway for me, is needing to slow down and breathe and acknowledge that I've come a long way to where when I am in the state of overwhelm and frustration, that I have the tools to slow down and still show up for the things that really matter to me instead of making excuses and not showing up. Because this, I meant to record Sunday, but we had a bunch of things happen, or Saturday. So yeah, so let's dive in. We're going to talk about when everything goes wrong at once. So we knew that this weekend was going to be busy. We needed to finish up some Christmas shopping. It's the 22nd now, so we only have 3 days to go. We were going to finish that up on Sunday. We had to go, well, we got to go drive and see family on Saturday. That was going to be 2 hours there, 2 hours back. So, we knew that was going to be involving a lot of travel, all those things. And then I've still been just a little bit nervous because it's my first time in my new job having state come in. So just very high emotions that way. And I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night, our stand-up freezer was beeping and I couldn't figure out what in the heck was going on. I thought it was a fire alarm and I couldn't figure out. I was like, by the time I got it down and realized that's not what was beeping, then figured out it was the freezer, messaged my partner, unplugged it, left it for a minute, plugged it back in. It stopped beeping. At that time, everything was still frozen. It seemed like everything was good. For context, we had just had windows in that room replaced. So it had been moved out so they could do the work replacing the windows because that's where the bats were coming into our house. I guess if you don't follow me on other social medias, we have been having tons of different issues with bats over the last, I don't know, I guess 8 months. It probably started January, February of this year. And we figured out that they were coming in through the wall of one of the windows because when the windows were replaced 3 years ago, they were not done properly. And the storm windows, when they took those out, they didn't seal anything around the windows. So bats were getting in. Fabulous. That brought a bunch of other things that have just, it's just been a time, right? So I didn't really think anything of it. I don't really get into that freezer very often unless I'm pulling me out. I did do that the day after whatever happened. I didn't notice anything really. I set the meat out as normal, and then I think it was, I don't know, doesn't matter. Regardless, Saturday morning as we were getting ready to leave, it started to beep again. And when I opened it, all the meat was, it was soft. It wasn't completely thawed out yet. There were still crystals, so it could have been saved potentially. However, we had nowhere else to put it. Of course, it's the middle of winter in Iowa, but it's 40 degrees now, so we can't just throw it in coolers and put it outside so we could figure out what's going on with the freezer. No, 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 no. That would be too easy. So the freezer still is broken. It is working just enough to keep everything cool. So there's that. At least it's not stinking. But because it is a holiday week and our trash goes out on the holiday, we have to wait until the end of the week to be able to take everything out. So that's got me a little frustrated and panicked. And so, yeah, I'm just going through a lot of uh, emotional work. And there's other things, little things, sickness is going around again. We've had other things come up that I just can't even really think about right now because, like I said, it's just feels like it's one thing after another that just keeps on happening. The windows when they got replaced, was it last week that they finished? I want to say it. We thought that it was only going to take maybe 3 days. We have a lot of windows, and it ended up taking 5. And so the house was in chaos for 5 days while trying to do a bunch of other things in the holiday and all of that. So, yeah, the theme is overwhelm, and I am tired. Then you throw in the nice holiday mix and the guilt of, we haven't been doing the things that we normally have done in the past. No holiday family get togethers at our house. We normally host. There was a specific gift that we had in mind that we wanted to get that then we waited too long and now we're unable to get it. And that just stinks. To throw on the parenting guilt and shame and all of those things. Normally during this time, I would have off if I were working at the factory. I would have this week off. So then I'd be able to keep my kids home with me. We would get more family time. But since I'm now working in childcare, we're open. So not having the time with them, that's a change. And I've just been trying to navigate what handling this in a healthy way looks like. How do I honor the feelings of overwhelm and stress and panic and sadness, the grief, all of those things, like allowing myself to feel them because none of them are bad. We talk about having like good feelings or bad feelings, but feelings are just feelings. And then I think typically what we say emotions or whatever after are the story that we tell ourselves about those feelings. So I've been doing a lot of deep breathing. I also have, I forgot to put that in the show notes last time, but I've been using a new AI tool. Again, I think it's Mark Manson and a large team of people created this AI tool called Purpose. If you're interested, I do have, I think it's a referral link. I'm not even sure. I can look it up and I can put that in the comments. Drop a question below if that's something that you would be interested in if I forget to put it into the show notes. I just want to make sure that I'm being very honest and transparent if it is a referral link because I'm not sure. So that got me off track. So utilizing that app because it's a little more specific, like it's already got all of the coding and things that is more coach driven, I guess you would say. So I'm not needing to tell it what I need, if that makes sense. I'm able to go to it, express what is going on, and then say what I'm needing or ask a question, and it's getting me better feedback than my own chat GPT tool, whatever. I think that I've already spoken about this, but I've been trying to use AI tools sparingly, mainly because there is an ethical factor when it comes to using these tools. However, a personal footprint isn't going to make as big of a difference as these big companies that are using them, like Google, since now it's in every single search that you do. Like you can't turn off the AI summary things. So I'm trying to keep that in mind and not be something that keeps me stuck because I don't want to make a problem worse while unintentionally holding myself back and all of those things. This might all seem very unconnected, maybe, or like it's a side tangent, but this is just another layer of emotional things that's going on in my head, and that takes energy to hold all those different frames of thoughts. Now, a lot of us have multiple things going on in our head that we're keeping at the same time, and we either don't recognize it, or it's just not something we have space for. It's just something that we're like, well, we got to do it. So it is what it is. That's a yes and type of thing there, because yes, life is moving fast. You have all these things. You do have to have that capacity to hold different things and be able to pick them up and put them aside, prioritize all those things. But if we're not intentional and aware of all of those things that are going on, it can very quickly lead to burnout, and not just the I need to have a weekend off, but the extensive burnout of no amount of sleep is going to help you feel more energized, can lead to depression, all of these different things. I cannot stress enough how true that has been for myself. And that's why I started this off being like, well, I think I really need to slow down and remember to celebrate how far I have come, because taking a pause in doing the dishes, getting caught up on laundry, making grocery lists, figuring out time to wrap the presents and not lose myself in the fear or shame of everything else that is happening is big. I am allowing myself to feel all of these feelings. I'm giving myself space, and I'm still bringing in the things that bring me joy and actually fill up my cup and bring me energy, like recording this podcast and verbally processing everything that's been going on this week. I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't think about just skipping recording, because, oh my gosh, I looked over and I just thought that I didn't actually hit record. I was going to be, a little upset at myself. But I reminded myself that these are the moments that I haven't been capturing well to share with people in real time, that, hey, you can be going through a lot of stress and still show up. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that it's all rainbows, but it means that you can honor yourself in the midst of chaos. And it sounds cliche or whatever, but it really does. It makes it seem lighter. Like when you take the time to actually slow down, that's another sign for me again to take a deep breath. At first I was frustrated, but then I caught myself, because I remembered that the knock on the door was actually a blessing of our neighbors giving us a turkey from their church. And that's really kind. We hadn't planned anything big for Christmas because we're not having the get-togethers like we normally do, but having a turkey is exciting. One, because they don't have to do that. They thought of us and they've come over and gifted us a turkey, and that's really awesome. And two, in the midst of the fact that we have lost a bunch of meat, we're also being gifted some, and it's a sense of provision and just being able to see the goodness even in the ways that things are not going well, or the way that I would like for it to. So yeah, it's been a week. I am exhausted. I have no idea how long this has been going and if any of this is going to make sense, but we're going for consistency and transparency. I'm going to say overvalue, but really it's value too. This is where I struggle and can get stuck into overthinking, but the value of these episodes really are coming from you guys seeing me work through things in real time and being a reminder that you're never done. Like that you don't just heal and then everything is fine and you just magically know how to deal with everything for the rest of your life. There are going to be seasons that are difficult, particularly holiday seasons. If you are someone who is working on breaking cycles and you're relatively new to practicing boundaries or I can't even think all the things that come with breaking cycles. Holidays are going to hit different just because holidays are already just innately stressful because they are different. There's different expectations and all of these things. So be kind to yourself. It it is work. It does take energy, and there's nothing wrong with you if you kind of dread the holidays or whatever that looks like for you. It doesn't mean you're broken. I used to think that it did for me for a little bit when I was really struggling. And then I have just grown to accept and give myself grace to know that there's nothing wrong with me. It's just, I don't even know how to put it. There's just so much going on, and I'm allowed to feel whatever way that I'm feeling. I don't have to force joy. And just because I'm not exuding joy in a way that's acceptable or whatever doesn't mean that I'm not thankful and happy and all of those things. So we're gonna I guess pull this all together with a metaphor. As I was trying to think about what to even talk about today, I kind of just laid it all out in purpose and said, like, hey, I'm really tired. Here's all the things that have happened over the weekend. Here's the stress that I'm feeling and all these things. I had a metaphor in my head about something to do with the freezer and life, but I can't even remember what it is. And it responded back, your metaphor might be something about preservation. Like that freezer keeping things just cool enough. You're keeping your creative practice alive just enough, even when everything else is breaking down. And then it asked if I wanted to riff on any of the threads. But that just like it gave me that like spark to remember. I was like, oh, yes, it really is. It was about, listen, the freezer went out. And here's the thing, it's part of that is probably on me for how I stacked the freezer. I think one, I forgot to adjust. Guys, have a thermometer in your freezer if it doesn't have one where you can see it, and check. I do this at work, so you would think that it would have crossed my mind to do it at home, but it didn't. But with the fluctuations and the weather change and everything, I think how it was stacked and stuff is part of the reason why it stopped working. Regardless, where was I going with that? I went off on a tangent. Basically, gosh darn it. The whole thing is the freezer went out, but we are very fortunate for the fact that it is still blowing cool air. So it is making it to where the meat isn't spoiling. And so we can live with that to be able to make sure that we take care of everything, get it out. So not everybody in the neighborhood has to deal with that smell or animals trying to get into our trash, all of those things. It's not ideal whatsoever. However, it is not the worst that it could be, and it's definitely not the end of the world. So being able to put it in that perspective really is helpful. And it reminds me that right now in my life, I'm not doing my best. I am giving the best that I have. I'm doing the best that I can, but I'm not the best version of myself, if that makes any sense. But that's okay because I am showing up. I am staying just calm enough, just aware enough to hold space for all of these feelings so that I can show up in a way that is in alignment with who I really am. I've really showed up for myself and honored my feelings and actually shared how I was feeling with important people in my life that before I would have just held it in and just tried to be the strong one, which just fosters resentment. And instead of doing that and holding on to that old pattern or trying to like earn love and all those things. Sorry, I thought I heard all the sounds are really getting to me right now, but it's fine. Sometimes you just have to stop and reset with some breaths. If you are a parent, you know this is true. You can use this outside of parenting moments, which is something that I had to learn, and it's something I've been utilizing a lot over the last few days. I feel like when I was able to play back the last shorter episode that I put up, I could definitely tell on my face when I was starting to get overwhelmed. So I'm just leaving it. It's fine. Everything is okay. So just holding space for exactly where I'm at, not trying to show up perfectly or, whatever, and just showing up in a way that honors who I am and helps me. So yeah, I'm not thriving right now. I'm persevering, showing up even when it doesn't feel like it's quote unquote the right thing to do, but I know that it matters. And I know that I made a promise to myself, I think for the next 60 or 90 days, I don't remember, that I was going to put an episode out weekly. And instead of going over and overthinking all of these things and then beating myself up for not just posting something, we're just going to post and we're going to keep going. So next week should hold more value. Just know that even if you're not providing a ton of value in the space that you're in right now, that you are valuable. It's not the things that you do or the talents that you have that you bring with you that make up your worth. You are just worthy because of who you are. I have that. Is that book right over there? I don't know where it's at. Oh, it is. It's right over there in the corner. You can't see it on the screen though. But anyway, hold on. Yeah, Jamie Kern Lima. I almost said it incorrectly. Her book Worthy is a really good one if that is something that you struggle with, like understanding or grasping. You probably can see how it's true for other people, but struggle to accept the truth for yourself. And I'll tell you, it's hard. It's so fucking hard, but it's also so worth it because when you can trust your worth, you show up differently. Yeah, don't feel different in the beginning. I don't feel super worthy right now. I don't feel like this is life changing, but I know from all the times that I've done things in the past that these decisions are like big stepping stones in getting to where I want to be because I'm showing up as the person that I want to be, not the old patterns, and doing it imperfectly. So just know every step that you take counts. Sometimes you're not thriving in life and it's not beautiful. It's not even like that heartbreaking, it's so difficult, but you know it's going to be better on the other side. Sometimes it's just that agonizing, numb, frustrating sense of overwhelm where it feels like you don't even know if anything that you're doing matters or has purpose, and you're just trying to do the things that have to get done. And then you see the meaning on the other side of it. But like a lot, that's been a lot of my life. I've just I don't see the meaning in the season, and it's really difficult. And then looking back, I'm like, whoa, there was a lot going on there, but I couldn't see it, feel it, or accept it in real time. So hopefully that's helpful. If not, leave it. That's fine. Don't let shame take over. Remember that feelings actually only last like 90 seconds, the chemical release within your body. And after like the 90-second mark, all of those emotions that you're feeling are actually the story that you're telling yourself about the things that you're feeling, that you felt in your body, and giving it a reason as to why. So pay attention to that, be intentional, and know that you have control to shift the story, and just to shift the way that you're showing up, even if you're not able to rewrite the story right then and there. Um, you have the power to pause. There is a big power in the pause. When you are feeling very overwhelmed, taking that breath and just giving it a second. So that way you can make clearer decisions, and hopefully ones that you can stand by. But also, if not, just know that you can still learn from it. It's okay. All right. That's it. We've got an episode here. I will see you guys next week. I will be more prepared and hopefully rested up. Although everybody, knock on wood, is sick season, and I'm pretty sure the kiddos are fighting something off. One of them slept pretty much all day, so you know you gotta love the winter time. Anyway, have a fantastic week. Merry Christmas to everyone who is celebrating. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays to all the people that are listening to this. Thank you so much for giving me your precious time and attention. It does matter. And if you took the time to work on yourself today, that is huge. Just getting to this point, it's a celebration, and you deserve a nice, big, deep breath and a hell yeah, because it matters. It might not feel like it, and at the beginning, it really doesn't feel like anything is happening, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. Every step that you take, every choice that you make with intention matters and is changing your life and the lives of those around you when you choose to do it with intention. So much love, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic week, and I will see you guys in the next one.